A vacation can be amazing, but if it is the only time that you feel like you can breathe, something is off. And so today in the All In podcast, we're going to be talking about how to build a life that you do not need to escape from, why burnout keeps returning even after time off, and what actually makes everyday life sustainable. This is the All In podcast. You're going to want to tune in and listen for this whole thing. All right, boys. All of us love a little vacation time. But have you ever had the experience where you come back from a vacation and you still feel a little bit exhausted?
Like when you feel like you need a vacation from your vacation?
You come back from your vacation, I feel like I still need 2 more days off before I go back to work.
Growing up, my family was big on, like, vacations were just like jam-packed. And so, like, we would go on a trip. Well, yeah, there weren't vacations, they were trips. My family didn't go on vacation, we go on trips. And you come back and you're more exhausted than before you left. Is that what you're talking about?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Acapulco.
The beach?
Yeah.
What was the last vacation you went on, John Michael?
Last vacation I went on was to what is known as the Vatican City of Mexico, Cancun. We went together with our, well, not just me and you, just to clarify. We went with our wives, and you happened to be there as well. And then we went with our good friend, Dr. Alec, and his spouse, Claire, and we had a ball. We've been looking forward to that for a couple of years. And, that was a vacation that I feel like we did the right way, because I left that trip and I was excited to get home. Not because I was tired of laying out at the beach and having a margarita and spending time with good friends over wonderful food and having wonderful conversation in an awesome resort, but more of just because I felt like that vacation was meant for us to have great conversations about how we can be better parents, how we can have better marriages. It felt like a marriage retreat, except the retreat was just being together. And so when we got back, I was so excited to see my kids. Like we were on the plane, like looking at videos of the kids. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get home. I can't wait to get home.
Is this the same trip that Clayton's heart rate shot up while playing pickleball to zone 5?
That was golf.
No, golf is a zone 2 sport. And then you had holiday hearts in there. I think it's so funny.
That's exactly.
I just think it's funny that that's like a diagnosable condition.
That's what I think is funny, that it's a diagnosable thing, and that it happened at Cancun and not like over. Like, it makes sense over Christmas or Thanksgiving.
I mean, it was a holiday.
Yeah, it
was Cancun in November. It's a holiday. It's always a holiday in Cancun.
So what do you think? So there, this vacation for us, I would agree with you. Right? We were doing the same thing. I mean, we were looking at pictures of our kids on day 3 of this thing, there's a part of us that was longing to be back with them, and a part of us that still wanted to be on the beach in Cancun for sure. But we also have experienced coming back from vacations and we're exhausted. So John Mike, I'd like to go back to you here and just kind of ask, what was it about that vacation that felt restorative versus perhaps other vacations that you've been on?
I mean, on a human level, I slept like 8 or 9 hours every single night, which is the first time I've done that 4 or 5 nights in a row, and probably since before I started having kids. What's so funny though is after having kids, like, I can't sleep through the night anymore. Like, even there, when we're in a giant king bed, we had a great time the day before. Like, I should just be so rested that I can sleep through the night. I woke up like 2 or 3 times a night, and it's always right around when the kids wake up. Like 2 a.m., then 4 a.m., 6 a.m. Couldn't sleep past 7. So I think part of it was just like, we rested. We didn't do a ton. We enjoyed good food, good drinks, played some pickleball, which was a blast. But I think on a higher level, having time outside of the day-to-day monotony of the life of work and fatherhood and husbandry, if that's a topic, if that's a word, husbandry.
It is a word, but not what
I thought husbandry meant gardening.
I think it has to do with What does that have to do with horses? Jamie, can you pull that up?
Jamie, pull that. So I think my husbandry was reinvigorated.
Careful management, cultivation of crops and livestock.
Yeah. See, gardening.
And horses.
Hey, you all nailed it. But I think there's a term in the for-profit world that talks about time working on the business versus working in the business. Working in the business is time where you're in the day-in-day operations of just how do we move things forward. Working on the business is taking a step back to evaluate just how you're doing. And so for us on that trip, it felt like I said, a marital retreat where we were not working in the family, the day-to-day of groceries and diapers and school and commutes, but working on the family from far away. And I think the value of a trip like that is you get to take a step back. And when you take a step back, you see things more clearly because you're not in it, but you're looking on it from the outside. So I think those factors were just played an awesome role.
Yeah. What about you, Jose? Have you had an experience like that in recent years?
Yeah.
Or maybe the opposite?
Honestly, recently,
you had a baby moon, right?
Yeah, we I like to, my wife and I like to make fun of her because she used to say, "You never take me on vacation." We've been married for a year. And we went on a honeymoon and on 2 trips. I'm like, what are you talking
3
about?
trips in the first year of marriage.
And she's like, you never take me on vacation. I'm like, you're out of control. But actually, all 3 of them, for very different reasons, were amazing. Our honeymoon went to Italy, which I was actually really terrified because I thought I wanted to go to the beach and like just lay on the beach in Cancun.
I'm gonna be honest. I was surprised that you went to Italy for your honeymoon.
Yeah,
I was a little
scared.
You didn't strike me as an Italy guy.
I didn't want to come back tired. But I think my wife and I talked about our expectations beforehand. We actually did a really good job. And then later we went to a friend's lake house. So I don't know if that was a vacation, but we were there for like 3 days. That was also really restful.
Just y'all, or
it was
with
us, another couple. It was us and 3 other couples.
That's so great.
Which was a lot of fun. And then later, I don't want people to think that we just travel a lot for fun, right? All of these, we pulled some strings to get there. But another one, we had a friend that got married in Charleston.
Fun.
And Mimi and I met in South Carolina. We had some connections in South Carolina. And so an old friend that we knew let us borrow a little house that they own. All 3 of them were very different. One was Italy doing things. One was a lake house with friends. And another one was just my wife and I doing nothing in Charleston. But all of them were super restful. And I think, I read a lot of books, but I don't like business books, right? So I don't think the same way that you do of working on the family versus in the family. I think for us, it's just connecting. Like that's what's restful. It's just, can we connect? That's it. That's what,
Yeah,
In Italy, we were able to connect. We were able to do things. We were able to laugh. We did things. We went to the Vatican, went to museums. We also went to a spa in Florence. That was like super sketchy that we found on like Yelp, but it was great. And then, same in Charleston, we like went to the beach one day and got rained on. And we were able to laugh and like have a lot of fun. We went to like all of our favorite restaurants from when we both lived in South Carolina. So it was just like, again, we were just connecting with each other.
Y'all met the Pope, right?
We did. Pope Francis, yeah.
How was that?
It was interesting. I think
because you have to wear your tux and wedding dress.
They just changed that.
Huh.
I don't know when they went
American
away from
Pope,
it.
baby. Let's go.
But whenever we went, it was Pope Francis. And you just had to be wearing a suit and a white dress. It didn't have to be specifically. And we ended up not doing that. Because I rented my wedding tux. And then I didn't want to pay for a whole other bag for Mimi's wedding dress. So I just wore like a normal suit that I packed. And then when we were there, we went to, I think, Zara and just bought her like a white little jacket and skirt.
What do you do? Do you wait in line and he comes, shakes your hand, that's it?
Yeah, pretty much. The whole thing is like you have to get tickets and it's kind of like a lottery and you win it. And then you go pick up the tickets and then you show up day of for his Wednesday audience. You show up in the morning and the Swiss guards will like keep an eye out for people in like wedding dresses, right? And they'll pull you out like, hey, are you here for the thing, for the blessing for the newlyweds? You're like, yeah. So then they take you like kind of around all these people and then you end up being like at the front like at the steps of St. Peter. And you sit on one side and you sit down. They just kind of like keep sitting people down.
So you get chairs though.
Yeah, you do get chairs, which is nice.
That's helpful.
And then you just sit for the next hour and a half or 2 hours. And then the Pope will say something. And then I think our experience was maybe a little different. Like we just had some friends that just went last month. And that was very different with Pope Leo that speaks English. Because we had Pope Francis. So it was the audience. And then afterwards, Pope Francis at this point was very ill. And so, he's in his wheelchair, and when he came to like meet us, I shook his hand, and I tried to say something in Spanish because he speaks Spanish. He's from Argentina, but there was just like not much conversation happening.
You don't know if he heard around. You just kind of.
And I was like, well, I shook his hand.
Did you think about what you were going to say beforehand?
For sure.
What'd you try to say?
I think I was super in my head of like, should I do English or Spanish, right? But it's just like you're thinking, and then he's right in front of you, and then you just,
I love you.
Oh my gosh, hey, how are you? Hey, you like Big Pope?
You missed a great opportunity to give him an all-in koozie.
Oh,
that's
man.
for sure.
That would
What are the secrets?
What's the third secret? Is it real?
Do you guys have like your own book of secrets, like the Nicolas Cage?
Oh, that's great.
So you overthink it, but I don't even know what I said. It's like kind of when you propose.
For sure.
You're thinking about it for so long.
It's
and then,
days.
You have it nailed.
do
and
you
then
guys
it
remember
just,
what you said? I don't remember what I said when I proposed.
I don't.
I do, but
You do.
yeah, I do. I had it. I kept it short.
But anyways, yeah, it's not a weird experience by any means. It's just kind of like surreal because it happens. You wait for so long and then it happens so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And there's someone that takes pictures for everyone.
I can't wait to go to Rome, man.
It's
We're
kinda
going for a 10-year wedding anniversary.
Oh, really? That's great.
And
In 3 years from now.
yep, I'm a planner, man. 2029 is going to be a great year.
That'll be great.
Yes, can't wait. 3 years away. Counting down the days.
Yeah. We had a great time because at the audience, we sat next to Marco and Julie. Marco is from Milan. In Spanish, it's Milan.
Milan.
Milan. And Julie is from Paris. And
Beautiful
They
couple.
sound like they're very
Mimi and I were
attractive.
just talking about
They're
they're the most
tens.
attractive couple we've ever met. They're definitely not listeners to this podcast. They're too cool.
We do have that one listener in Kenya.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Shout out Kenya.
Huge in Kenya.
But yeah, they were just amazing. And they now both live in Rome. They obviously now married because they were sitting next to us. But they gave us like all these recommendations of like places to go and things to do
That's really cool.
as like locals and attractive, cool locals too.
Yeah, they know the spots.
Yeah.
They know the spots.
So I think we've identified that what makes a vacation restful is that there's an opportunity for connection. And all of us, I think, shared stories, about going on vacations with our spouses, connection with our spouse. And then, there's friends involved in a lot of these, different stories. And so connections with friends as well. Do you think you would describe a vacation that's not restful as a vacation where there's a lack of connection and that's what makes it unrestful?
I think the vacations that I look back on that weren't restful were frankly either one of two things and sometimes both at the same time. One is being around people that aren't restful for you. So like I've taken some trips with, certain groups of people in my life where it feels like work to be around them and you're on vacation and you're trying to relax, but the whole time you're thinking about how to engage that person in conversation. And it's just not a space where you feel like you can just kind of breathe a little bit. The second thing, which if you combine these things make for a rough vacation, is just a jam-packed schedule of activities. And for some people, maybe that's their idea of a great vacation. But for me, I like to have a couple things we're going to do. But my life is so regimented in real life that to go on a vacation and to be like, hey, at 8 we're doing this, at 9:30 we're doing this, at 11 we're doing this, at 1 p.m. we're doing this, that feels like real life, but just on a vacation. So like when we were in Cancun, we had no plans.
It's awesome.
And it was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from a life where, my every 30 minutes seems to be calculated and scheduled into my outlook, to go where it's like the only thing to do today is eat 3 meals. Outside of that, that's all.
Yeah.
And I think when you have an overly packed schedule with people that you find somewhat difficult to be around is a recipe for a vacation where you feel like you need a sabbatical when you get home.
That's a great point. I think one of the things that we, talked about with our friend Alec when we were come back from Cancun was just that, if I could go to Cancun every year of my life for the rest of my life, I think that I would. That's probably not going to be, an opportunity that we have on a yearly basis. This was a big trip for all of us. But what we ended up talking about was, at this stage in my life right now, where I've got 3 boys, 5 and under. Honestly, the last thing that I want to do is plan a pilgrimage to go to Europe. Now, going for your 10-year anniversary, that's a milestone where you're doing something really, really special. But for the most part, on an annual basis, even if it's just, honestly, I would want more than a weekend. If I could do 3 or 4 full days, that would be amazing. But an opportunity just to step away, with my wife and perhaps, another couple or two, and just be quiet and restful. That's what I want in my life right now when it comes to a vacation.
I think for me, when I step away, I need a longer period of time. It's like 4 or 5 days, kind of like the perfect space, because it takes me till day 2 in the afternoon of the trip to really enter in. Mm-hmm. Day 1 is like kind of the halfway house between a vacation and real life. And day 2, you're starting to come out of the fog of the hustle. And then by the afternoon of day 2, you're like, all right, I'm here. Mm-hmm. But if you have a 3-day trip, which sometimes that's all you can do with kids, but when you have a 3-day trip, by the time you're entered in, you're already packing up the Airbnb to go home. So having a trip long enough to where you can relax and decompress and still have most of the trip ahead of you, it's like the perfect schedule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a takeaway from that trip for us, was for my wife and I, we need to schedule something like this on an annual basis. It doesn't have to be going to Cancun, but we got to be able to step away for a number of days where we can, decompress and just be with one another. And I think scheduling vacations like that on an annual basis, if that's something that's possible for you, it might not be possible for everyone, to do a trip like that to Cancun. But even if it's just stepping out of your normal everyday routine for a couple of days to get away and create some space, I think is something that is really healthy for, a rhythm of life, and so we've got our daily rhythms of life. We have our weekly rhythms of life, monthly, quarterly, and then part of our annual rhythm of life is, I want to be able to step away for a couple of days and be with my wife. And so there's, there's an idea of, I don't want to have a life that I feel like I need to have a vacation from, like, oh my gosh, I just need to get away, like blah, blah. I want it to be not a vacation where I'm escaping from my life, but a vacation that's, not just about, sharpening the saw so that I can enter back in, but just a part of my life. And so what do you think, that those vacations have been so restorative for us, but when it comes to building a life that you don't, quote unquote, need a vacation from, what is that? That's a question I think that's come up. I've actually seen it on some like YouTube short videos, I think it's like I don't know, when I was prepping for this, I saw it online. There's like all these little YouTube shorts of like building a life you don't need a vacation from. What does that mean? What does that look like?
I think it looks like creating repeatable rhythms in your day-to-day life that allow for you to have these little mini vacations in the midst of a day, in the midst of a week. So what I mean by that practically is when we were on that trip in Cancun, my wife and I looked back at just kind of our rhythms of life now that we were, stepped away from them, and we were recognizing that we were really looking forward to this vacation, like a lot, like maybe even more than we should have. And we were living that way because it felt like our life at home was unmanageable in its schedule. And the thing that we identified is particularly our evening commitments. So there was weeks where we had an evening commitment every single night. So it'd be like Monday night, I had a dad's group. Tuesday night, I led a Bible study. Wednesday night, Emily went to a mom's group. Thursday night, I went to something, for spiritual formation. And then Friday night, we had maybe a couple or a family over. And it felt exhausting because you go to work, you come home, then you have to leave, throw the kids in bed real quick, and then go to the next commitment.
Right.
And so one of our takeaways was we need to pare down our evening commitments, still be generous, hopefully, and investing in those around us. But we need probably 2 nights a week, at least Monday through Thursday, that we have just for us. And I think repeatability as the family continues to grow and kids have more activities in the evening and stay up later doing homework and things like that. I don't want to be gone 4 nights a week.
Yeah.
Like those are times where I want to be available and home. So all in all, I think finding those opportunities in the week to be able to create repeatable rhythms so that you don't need a vacation every couple of months to recenter.
Yeah. I think my life, everyone's life is different at different stages, but in our current stage for my wife and I, building a life that you don't need vacation from just looks like, if we are, how do I phrase this? If we are actually being present to the things in front of us, that then we won't need a vacation from them. And what I mean by that is, like, when I'm at work, but when I'm not at work, I'm not at work. When I'm hanging out with friends, I'm hanging out with friends.
Yeah.
But when I'm hanging out with my wife, I'm hanging out with my wife. And I'm not half working, I'm not half texting, I'm not half this. Whenever I'm present to the things in front of me in its right setting, I don't know how else to say that. I'm kind of finding what I'm trying to say as I go along. That I think that's when I feel like fulfilled. And that's when I don't feel like I need to get away to like just rest. Well, what if I actually just if I find a way to make it restful for me to get off work and get my kid to stop crying and put him in a stroller and go on a walk, and then coming back and choosing to find like something joyful about helping my wife cook. I hate cooking. My wife loves cooking. Right. But, and then like, as I grow in that, and again, this is my stage of life, might be a little more different because we only have one kid. Like that's, I think, where we get into a rhythm where we don't feel like we have to get away to reset or to recenter because we're entering to the things in front of us in their proper setting.
Well, and I think what you're identifying is like a vacation can't make up or reset for months and months and months of overcommitment and misaligned priorities and a busyness. It doesn't wash away those things. It actually just creates a space where you feel like you have no commitments, but then you jump right back in, and that vacation actually didn't change anything. It was just a momentary breath to re-enter back into a life of chaos that probably isn't sustainable or healthy.
Yeah.
It's almost like the vacation becomes a mini retreat in a sense, a mini examination of how am I looking back over the past year and how am I living my life and what do I need to change in order to make it, better.
That's the proper vacation. Absolutely.
Because I think some of the things that you said, John Michael, it's none of the things that you named were bad things. Like you named a dad's group, you named your Bible study, you named your wife's Bible study and mom's group. You named, investing in friendships and investing in the community. All of those things are objectively good things. It was just that you were doing them at a pace and at a rhythm that, were exhausting you without even realizing it. And so being able to step away and identify those things in your life that perhaps you've overcommitted to. And I think that, we need, I think we talk about this frequently on the podcast, but we need rhythms. We need routines. We need morning routines and evening routines and weekend routines and Sunday routines. We need rhythms for our life so that there's some sort of predictability and sustainability to our life. But I think another part of routines as well is that you need to create space for spontaneity as well. Because what we're not trying to say is like, hey, your life needs to be so, regimented, and disciplined that you always know what you're doing, 1 week ahead of the time. There needs to be room for, just a spur of the moment thing with the family, or a spur of the moment, hey, we're gonna, we're done with dinner a little bit early tonight, so we're gonna watch 2 episodes of Bluey with the kids, and snuggle them on the couch and just have a good time instead of always prepping to run out the door for the next thing.
I think that you too can find the joy that you found in a vacation in the rhythms of your life. Like we've had a couple podcasts now where we've been kind of touching on like a similar thread of not fleeing from responsibility, but entering in. And I think what's cool about this thread is it feels organic in that, a lot of these past episodes, as they've been building on one another, the last 2 or 3 have been threads that we're talking about on the podcast because they're threads we're discovering in our own self-discovery of our lives. And so we're kind of speaking about these podcasts as honestly a self-reflection of our own experiences. I think those create the best conversations because we're not just talking about topics. We're talking about things that we are discovering today, a month ago, 2 months ago. And I know when I leave these podcasts, I get home and I'm like, I kind of like want to tell Emily about the things we talked about because I feel like we need to apply these things in a much better way than we have been because we just talked about it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So a question I have, again, we've talked a lot about, all of us are driven in different ways. I would say that each of us are, ambitious in our lives about, maybe about similar things or about different things, but I think we're all, driven people almost to the point that, it can be detrimental, to a point. And so, John Michael, when you were coming back from that vacation and you're someone that you're a community builder, you love investing in friendships, you have these big goals, visions, and dreams, and some of those are about your family, some of those are about work, some of those are about, the friendships that you're building, and all of those are really good things. Making the decision to step back from a few of those things and not chase, not be building something in the evenings, not trying to do something or accomplish something. Is that not settling? Describe that to us. Like it, you're like, oh, there's all these good things and I'm not going to do them anymore because I need more me time. How do you balance that?
What's funny is I felt so much confidence on the trip that that's what I needed to do. And then I got back home and I was like, I don't really need to take a step back. I'm good.
I'm fine.
But then luckily I journaled about it, and I'm not a big journaler, but I did take time to write that down on the trip because I knew that would happen. I knew I would get back and I would be distracted by the commitments, and I needed to return to the place of confidence that I had, and frankly, like a conviction that I had. And honestly, what I did is I called up a couple good buddies here in Denver, and I just shared with them kind of the fruit of that experience. Like, hey, I'm going to take a step back. Here's why I'm taking a step back. And I shared with them what I received, probably honestly a grace I felt like I received, which was that desire to do that. And I was so scared that they would respond with like, are you backing out on us? Like we started this together, or we really love to have you here. And instead what happened was exactly the opposite, where it was like, that's crazy. Like I've been feeling the same thing, but I just couldn't put a finger on it. And now that you said that, I think I need to take a look at my life and see what we're overcommitted to. And it was really cool. And I think the value of risking a friendship there was outweighed by the value of gaining more intimacy in the family. And you know what? I think the risk I took was if guys weren't okay with that, then those just probably aren't the type of men I want to surround myself around if they're not supportive of those decisions. And I'm not making myself a hermit, but I'm just taking that opportunity to say, hey, for right now in this season, as we're expecting the next baby, I need to take a strategic step back here. Mm-hmm. And the value of saying no, creates more and more opportunities to say yes to things that matter.
I think that was very well said, John Michael.
One of your best monologues.
It's about time I got a little love from y'all with my monologues. It's been tough recently.
I think ultimately what we're trying to do is we're trying to build a life that we're not trying to escape from. It's one we're strategically committed to the things in our life that are good, but not to the extent that they become detrimental and prevent us from resting well and taking a step back, even in the ordinary rhythms of daily life outside of vacation time. And so if this made you think, man, maybe I need to slow down a little bit, maybe I need to rethink what my daily, weekly, monthly, annual, quarterly structure looks like. Share it with a friend, subscribe, talk about it with your buddies, do what John Michael did, and go out on a limb and invite someone else to think about these things as well. This is the All In Podcast. We're all in on vacations. We're all in on vacations that you don't try to escape from your life from.
And we're all in on living your life.